No CP field flow, I'm just an ordinary farmer, don't disturb me farming. Through a journey, I transformed from a small nanny to a penniless and impoverished little casual cultivator. The golden finger arrived at the account, but there was not even a beginner gift package, and the society was afraid of being forced to roll up and die in the cultivation world. It's another day of staying up late to farm. Fortunately, after harvesting the first spiritual grass, the delayed reward from the skinning system was finally launched. The host harvests a red cloud grass and gains 1 year of cultivation. The host harvests a plant of white rice spirit rice and obtains a spoonful of white wine. Chen Dao Yu, there is a newly opened secret realm. Do you want to team up and explore? No, I'm just a little farmer exploring the secret realm. It's so dangerous, so scary, I don't want it. Keywords of the novel. Don't disturb me, no pop-ups, don't disturb me, download the complete TXT series of farming, don't disturb me, read the latest chapters of farming. Chapter 1. Farming System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Farming System. Host, please start farming as soon as possible. Host, please start farming as soon as possible. Please. The system has resumed its daily routine of nagging. The waiter, wearing a gray cap on his head and a matching colored spank, with a white cloth draped over his shoulder, helplessly supported his forehead and said, "Xiao Zero, please stop your nagging." Don't I want to? It's not because conditions don't allow it. This dog-driven system doesn't care about anything except urging her to farm, doesn't give anything, doesn't even have a beginner gift package, negative review. But the problem is, the ordinary Tian system doesn't recognize it. Where should Chen Yanji go to get a spiritual field? You should know that the spiritual fields in Changli Fong City have been divided among several major families and sects, with only some scattered spiritual fields in the hands of Sanxiu. Of course, there must be some outside the neighborhood, but as a small cultivator with a second level of qi cultivation, what else can she do outside besides delivering meat to monsters? The safest way, of course, is to save money and rent a courtyard with a spiritual field. So, in order to open up the golden finger, Chen Yanji started a difficult life as a migrant worker. It's pitiful to see that before crossing over, she was still a solitary and quiet social anxiety, unable to communicate with others. Now they can all smile without changing their faces, making the guests and officials smile. Alas, life is not easy, Xiao Chen sighed. To say that one is not excited at all when crossing into the cultivation world is definitely not true. As an ordinary social anxiety and homestay girl, I have read all kinds of novels, and cultivation novels are even more beloved. When she first arrived, she was also ambitious and wanted to seek immortality. She wanted to punch the Yuaning and overhaul her skills, kick the strong ones who transformed into gods, and become the first person in the cultivation world, while also going against the heavens. But the reality is that she is just an insignificant individual in the world of cultivation. Not only is his talent mediocre, his cultivation mediocre, and his martial arts mediocre, but he is also a poor person. Fortunately, there is a system, and finally there is a thought. As for her family in the original world, she was not worried. After all, her parents divorced when she was 5 years old, and they each established new families with new children. She naturally became the extra one, attending boarding school since childhood, and the only care her parents gave was the average number on her bank card. However, Chen Yanji is very successful herself. She has known to save money since she was young, so she saved and saved. When she saved enough money, she asked her grandfather to take her to buy a house. Minors can have a house under their name. By the time I graduated from college, I had already saved up 5 houses under my name and lived an ordinary life with a small rent and an ordinary job. Then on an ordinary late night, addicted to novels, she felt her breathing slow, her heart ache, and her eyes darken, and she entered this world. Wearing it into the body of an 18-year-old girl with the same name and surname as her. This child is the most ordinary casual cultivator in the world of cultivating immortals. He has never seen his parents since I remember, struggling to survive in Changlifang City. The aptitude of the 4 spirit roots has not passed the sect test, so they can only work as temporary assistants in the local market to make a living. More than 3 months ago, my childhood friend who grew up together discovered a first order intermediate spiritual herb called chinya grass not far from the neighborhood. It is the main medicine for refining qi tonifying pills and can increase the chances of breakthrough for cultivators below the later stage of qi cultivation. Having been stuck in the second layer of qi training for 6 years, the original body decided to take a risk and give it a try in an urgent mood. But I didn't expect this to be a design for practicing the 4 layers of qi cultivation. I'm planning to catch a young master from a qi refining family and make a big profit. These 2 little shrimp accidentally broke in, and of course they refused to come. Not only did they plunder them, but they also lost their lives. Chen Yanji came over at this time and even bound a farming system to cure her injuries. Unexpectedly, she carried her life and death unknown companion and fled. For this, she was still grateful to the system. After all, it saved her small life. At first, she wanted to seek revenge from the Jiexiu, but her strength was low and she didn't even have the magic to attack, so she had to temporarily put it on hold. What are you staring at? Haven't you seen all the guests coming in yet? Hurry up and greet them. The woman in red leaned diagonally against the counter, her delicate hands focused heavily on Chen Yanji's forehead, and the golden bell swayed on her wrist, her eyebrows and eyes resembling a painting, exuding a captivating aura. Chen Yanji woke up from her memories with a stirring smile, her eyes curved. Okay, I'll go right away. With a habitual flick of the cloth towel on his shoulder, he bent over and shouted clearly, "Sir, please come inside." After greeting a few guests who came in, he ran to another table where he had finished his meal and was about to check out. He skillfully reported and saw off the guests. Turning around, he avoided the sight of another waiter and the customer in the store, and then happily stuffed the 20 pieces of spirit that the customer had rewarded into the inner pocket of his clothes. Wealth is not revealed, so if you can avoid it, then avoid it. 1 spirit stone is equivalent to 100 broken spirits, and her monthly salary is only 3 spirit stones. These 20 broken spirits can offset 2 days of work, which is truly a pleasant surprise. The busy day finally came to an end in Chen Yanji's hope. She was particularly excited today because she was about to receive a salary. The rule at Deshan building was to receive 1 salary every 3 months, which was very domineering. However, there was still a high demand for grassroots casual repairs. Because the shopkeeper of the Deshan building is the beautiful woman in red, a cultivator who cultivates qi with great roundness. They usually receive late-stage cultivators who practice qi, and this reward is given generously. If they are lucky, they can catch up with their monthly income. Moreover, it can provide some shelter for everyone. Naming this restaurant can still deter young people. If Chen Yanji had not caught the eye of the shopkeeper, with her cultivation and a background of helplessness, she would not have found such a good job. Of course, she wasn't interested in her cultivation talent. If they wanted to cultivate her or take her as a disciple, they were mainly interested in Chen Yanji's face. Don't misunderstand, this doesn't mean she looks so national and beautiful, stunning. The main feature is an affability, with a small round face, big eyes, a beautiful nose bridge, lips that are not big or small, and a flat facial feature at first glance. When combined, it is particularly suitable, especially when smiling, the eyes will bend into crescents, making people's mood seem to fly with it. Originally, Chen Yanji didn't like to laugh and was always silent, but under the guidance of the shopkeeper, she had to change. In short, it was the bitter tears of the working people. After taking the 9 thumb-sized spirit stones from the shopkeeper's hand, putting them into her pocket and greeting everyone, she walked out of the restaurant with an ordinary face. Hurry all the way to the dental clinic. At this moment, it happened to be Su Shi, and there was no one in the dental shop except for the dental staff. Upon hearing the sound of footsteps, the accountant instinctively blurted out, welcome, Taoist friend. Looking up, it was Chen Yanji, with a stiff smile on her face and a tone of helplessness. Why is it you again? Chen Yanji had a smile on her face and said, don't dislike me for now. I've already raised enough money. Is the yard I want still there? I'll rent it for 3 months, he said, patting 14 spirit stones and 60 broken spirits on the counter. Seeking a comment is like encouraging the author. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Daily Life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Daily Life. The teeth man just showed a passionate smile and hurriedly said, still there, specially kept for you. Chen Yanji automatically ignored the following compliments and only urged him to expedite the procedures. After signing the lease agreement, Yaran walked out of the counter with a string of keys and said, let's go. I'll take you to the yard and release the formation. Chen Yanji nodded in agreement. To the south of Changlifang City. In a quiet alley, quaint courtyards stand one after another. The tooth man's manual changed, and a slightly simple array appeared on the door panel. After taking it away, he handed the key to Chen Yanji. The courtyard has been handed over to you. If you have any questions, you can come to our dental clinic at any time. If you have any other needs, you can also contact me, and I guarantee to satisfy you. After thanking the tooth man for seeing him off, Chen Yanji excitedly opened the gate of the small courtyard. This is a courtyard about 4 zhang long and 3 zhang wide, with white walls and green tiles. Inside, there is a 2-foot wide green stone path, and most of the area has been developed into a spiritual field. Inside the room, there is a living room with a kitchen, but furniture, bedding, kitchenware, and daily necessities need to be gradually filled in. After taking a rough look, Chen Yanji walked to the edge of Lingtian and nervously rubbed her hands, saying, Xiao Zero, Lingtian has it. Should we send a small gift package? Please don't have unrealistic ideas, farm honestly, bury your head in hard work, and heaven rewards diligence. Is that all? That's it. She had been waiting for half a day, but the result, system, I'm telling you, I've decided not to do it anymore. Let's just mess it up to the end, Chen Yanji said with both hands on her hips and a fierce aura, which was quite impressive. As you please. Chen Yanji. The system, you're not right. To be honest, it's not a threat or a joke. Understood. If I don't work, you won't get the energy, then sleep, crash, and finally dissipate. It doesn't matter who the hell is playing around. Chen Yanji looked up at the sky in silence. After being isolated for a while, she still accepted her fate and got up to work. After all, she has 4 spiritual roots and no resource background. She doesn't rely on the system and only works and cultivates on her own. She is afraid that she won't be able to break through the later stage of qi cultivation until she dies, let alone seek revenge. Maybe one day he will die on the streets. Although she always takes things easy and has a non-competitive nature, after all, she has already entered the cultivation world, so let's struggle and struggle. Encountering a broken system, she was also very helpless. After renting the small courtyard, I have spent almost all the spiritual stones I have accumulated during this period, leaving only 1 spiritual stone and 60 broken spirits. Fortunately, she works at the German restaurant and still has daily meals. Although they are all ordinary things, in the cultivation world, they also require trading with spirit stones. As for spiritual food, the cheapest one also requires a few spiritual stones, which she cannot afford with her income. All night long, Chen Yanji was tidying up the spiritual field, pulling grass and plowing the ground. The spiritual field was hard and delicate, and using ordinary hose could easily lead to the leakage of spiritual energy. She didn't have the money to buy magic tools, so she could only attach spiritual energy to her hands and use the most laborious hand-digging method. After working hard all night, I finally managed to dig out the spiritual field, which was 2 zhang long and 1 zhang wide, and my hands were peeling bald. As the sky lit up slightly, Chen Yanji straightened her waist and pounded her almost broken waist a few times. She went back to the house to fetch water, wash her hands and face. It wasn't that she didn't want to use cleansing techniques, but her spiritual power had been drained, and there was really not a drop left. Lying on the bedboard, I squinted for half an hour, and it happened to be 10:15. After tidying up, I went to work. Today. Chen Yanji was carrying a tray and delivering dishes from the kitchen to the front when she suddenly heard angry curses. "Can you serve people? If not, change people." Then came the sound of heavy objects falling and dishes breaking. She flexibly turned back, and her body, which had just exposed half of her shoes, instantly disappeared into the aisle, taking a deep breath. Fortunately, no one saw her. The first rule of Lao Lu is to join the fun and die quickly, so don't meddle in your own affairs. She knew immediately from this commotion that someone must have caused trouble. As a shop assistant, she has a responsibility to handle conflicts. But who knows what will happen if we get close? If we really encounter unreasonable people, being scolded is a small matter. What should we do if we get beaten up? What should we do if we can't hold back and get severely injured or killed? Although fighting and death are not allowed in the neighborhood, who would offend a strong person in the later stage of qi refining for a small casual cultivator? Safety comes first, she can only hide if she can. Anyway, she's serving dishes in the kitchen, so if she doesn't see it, she doesn't know. Squatting down, picking up a piece of crushed stone and throwing it into a plate of stir-fried vegetables, getting up, holding the tray steadily, and running towards the kitchen with a gust of wind under his feet. As soon as he arrived at the door, he hurriedly shouted, "Master Lu, when I was serving dishes, a piece of gravel from somewhere fell into the dish. Please be kind and help me stir-fry another plate." Master Fu, who was steaming hot with enthusiasm, paused when he heard this. His oily and plump face was filled with anger, and he glared fiercely at Chen Yanji, shouting, "Get out of here, it's none of my business, think for yourself." Chen Yanji couldn't help but know what this person meant. She painfully took out the 3 fragmented spirits, smiled, and stuffed them into Master Chen's pocket. Seeing that his face was still not good, she took out the 2 fragmented spirits. "Master Lu, could you please help? The customer is waiting. If it really misses the point, then it's not good." The words implied a threat. Master Lu snorted coldly with an unpleasant expression and said, "Wait a moment. The next step is for you. In the future, you will work steadily and focus, be irritable, and not particular." Chen Yanji bent down and smiled apologetically, "What you taught me is." By the time the dishes were brought back to the table, it had already been 1/4 of an hour, and the farce ahead had ended. However, the number of people had significantly decreased, and the head of the waiter, He Yuan, had also disappeared. She pretended not to know, didn't hear or ask, only focused on doing her own thing. After the peak of the afternoon, the shopkeeper gathered everyone together and announced a new personnel arrangement. Mao Xiaodo, who was very lively, became the new head of the waiter. As for He Yuan, it seems that he was injured and went to recuperate. Returning to the courtyard, looking at the loose black-brown spiritual soil, the exhaustion of the day seemed to have dissipated. I took out a cloth bag from my pocket, which contained spiritual seeds, 50 white millet seeds, 10 red cloud grass seeds, and an unknown seed. These were all things that Chen Yanji had been paying attention to and collecting a long time ago, except for an unknown spiritual seed obtained from Sanxiu that could be kept as a seed. The rest of the white rice and red cloud grass seeds have been specially treated and cannot bear any more seeds, so new seeds can only be purchased from the Lingji Hall. Monopoly is the norm in the world of cultivating immortals, and various skills are collected by families and sections. It is extremely difficult for scattered cultivators to inherit them. Create a small spiritual field, sprinkle 50 white rice seeds evenly, compact them, and then cover with a thin layer of soil to cultivate seedlings. After completing everything, Chen Yanji looked closely at the open space and found that it was densely covered with green progress bars. End of this chapter. 3. Chapter 3 System Usefulness. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 3 System Usefulness. She was just about to ask what was going on with the system. But I found that the progress bar suddenly went red. It startled the person. Information flashed through my mind one by one. I'm so thirsty, I want the rain to moisten me. Is this a water shortage? Chen Yanji stood up and ran to the water tank in the kitchen, turned on the faucet, took a full bucket of water, and poured it lightly with a small ladle. She doesn't have much farming experience and is afraid of watering too much, so she takes it slowly with a small ladle. I need water, a lot of water, a little more, hurry up. Seeing the demands of the rice seeds, she let go of her hands and feet, accelerated her speed, and poured half a bucket of water before meeting them. After seeing the progress bar turn green again and walking a little further, she finally felt relieved. This system seems to be a bit useful. It can sense the state and needs of plants, so even a novice can explore a path for a spiritual planter. I have also gained a certain skill, and it will be easier to earn spiritual stones in the future. With money, I can exchange for good martial arts, as well as buy pills, talismans, magical tools, and spirit-gathering arrays. It seems that breaking through in cultivation is no longer unattainable. The originally shaky little flame of cultivating immortals seemed to have been injected with new fuel and burned fiercely, becoming increasingly intense. She finally had some expectations for the future that she couldn't see clearly. Perhaps, even on this immortal path, I can't help but take a glimpse. Chen Yanji looked up at the sky with a resolute expression that had never been seen before. Oh, the barrier of the third layer of qi cultivation has actually loosened. Is this caused by a change in mood? Without much time to think, her heart moved with her will. She waved her bare hands and sat on the ground, and the Gin Qi Ju began to operate. The invisible barrier was repeatedly impacted. The night slowly passed by, and the people on the ground finally felt the swelling of the dantian. The surging spiritual energy instantly broke through the obstacles and entered a broader space. Practice 3 layers of qi and achieve success. The woman in gray opened her eyes and saw a round of orange halo breaking through the haze, struggling and jumping up to the edge of the sky until the dark shadows could no longer stop the radiance. Chen Yanji finally couldn't help but grin, revealing the most cheerful and relaxed laughter since March. She stayed up all night and didn't feel tired. Instead, she was in good spirits and quickly planted the remaining seeds while it was still early. Red cloud grass has red seeds all over its body, with a faint auspicious cloud pattern. It is the main medicine for refining qi gathering pills and also an auxiliary medicine for various first-order pills. It is widely used, with a value of up to 3 spirit stones per plant. However, it takes 1 year to fully mature. Digging the pit, I planted the red cloud grass and poured a ladle of water on each one. The progress bar and information appear as scheduled. I feel like it's almost boring. It would be even better if we had a spiritual rain. Does this mean spiritual water? Chen Yanji scratched her head, feeling a bit worried. Lingji masters usually master basic farming techniques, and Xiaolingyu technique is one of them. However, the problem is that she is halfway to becoming a monk and doesn't even know how to do it. The original body has 3 spells, namely cleansing, lightness, and entanglement. These are the spells that she has accumulated for a long time as a spiritual stone, and gradually learned by Lu. Previously, I was young and it was not easy to find a job. Accumulating spiritual stones was already slow, and all of this wasted a lot of effort. However, after observing for a while, I didn't notice that the progress bar on the red cloud grass turned red. Chen Yanji couldn't help but guess, does this mean it doesn't affect their growth? That's okay. I have no choice, under such circumstances, I can only let you bear the burden more, she murmured helplessly. This unknown seed looks quite beautiful, transparent like a drop of water. When pinched, it feels soft and bouncy. If it weren't for feeling the rich vitality inside, Chen Yanji would have suspected that it wasn't a seed. Plant a seed and wait for the fruit to grow. The system provides a detailed introduction to this unknown seed. Mingjiyin, a second-level primary spiritual seed, grows in 3 years, blooms every 3 years, and bears fruit every 3 years. The fruit can be used to refine a second-level elixir invisibility pill, which can be swallowed directly, and invisibility can last for half an hour. Surprisingly, it's second level and can still be invisible. Isn't that amazing? After Mingjiyin grows up, it will definitely be a continuous source of wealth. Chen Yanji laughed so hard that she almost jumped up. But the bright red progress bar interrupted her excitement. Feeling uncomfortable, so uncomfortable. The lack of spiritual energy makes me feel very tired, and my whole body is weak and sore. Help me. Help me. Hurry up and stick your hands to the spiritual field, as the spiritual power is continuously transported into the seeds. Comfortable, so comfortable, a little more. Isn't it just spiritual power? I promise to satisfy you. After entering the 3rd level of Qi cultivation, her spiritual power increased significantly, and she generously output it. 15 minutes later, Chen Yanji's face turned red, and beads of sweat as big as beans slid down her small side face. Her hand, pressed against the ground, was trembling faintly, feeling that her spiritual energy was almost depleted. She didn't stop doing anything and just stopped, which was really unbearable. Not enough, I still need it. Chen Yanji greatly admires it. It truly deserves to be a second-order spiritual plant. It is so delicious that no matter how much it is fed, it cannot be fully fed. Dedicating himself, he took out 50 pieces of spirit and placed them on Mingjin's head. He watched as the sparkling broken crystals were drained of spiritual energy and turned into ashes, and his heart ached with blood. It finally turns green. She raised her hand and wiped away the sweat from her forehead, taking a deep breath. Looking at the refreshed Ling Tian, Chen Yanji couldn't help but start worrying again. This spiritual field is only a first-order one, and in order to meet the growth needs of second-order spiritual plants, it is necessary to periodically invest spiritual stones. After the Tooth Man withdrew the defense formation, the defense strength of the small courtyard was completely insufficient. It didn't matter before, anyway, she carried all her valuable things with her, and even if thieves came to visit, she was not afraid. But now that spiritual plants have been planted, as well as valuable second-order spiritual plants, without defense, if they were really stolen, it would be too late to cry. One by one, they are all big spenders. Make money, we must make money. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Wharf bagging. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 5. Joy of Harvest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Joy of Harvest. In the small rice field, the green rice stalks and snow-white rice grains create a scene of abundant harvest. Chen Yanji's eyes wandered around and found a spiritual rice plant with a progress bar completely full. She waved a sickle with spiritual power attached and cut it off. You planted and harvested a white rice plant, and obtained a spoonful of white wine. She was stunned on the spot and said, "Small zero, so this is the real reward of the system." That's right, the surprise came too suddenly, and she had to adapt well for a while. So. Isn't this double the effort and double the harvest? Cool, it's really amazing. By the way, Xiao Zero, what about my spoonful of white wine? Placed in system space, it can only be obtained when the host is absolutely safe. The current system assessment has an exposure risk and will not be issued. Chen Yanji is busy with work during the day and has not saved enough spiritual stones to buy formations. The spiritual plants in the room are unattended and she is afraid of being stolen. I invited little Chin Mei, who grew up together, to live with me and help take care of her. This person is the companion who searched for Chinya grass with her original body. She was injured and has been recovering from it. Now this little green plum and white yun are inside the house and cannot take risks. Upon hearing this, Chen Yenji counted her own spirit stones again, totaling 20.2 spirit stones and 30.6 broken spirits. She decided to stroll around the scattered repair booth to see if she could find a cheap defense formation. Firstly, the existence of the system cannot be known by anyone. Secondly, if Bai Yun really encounters an intruder, it will be of no use, and it may even cause her further harm. The next day, during her afternoon break, she made an unprecedented decision not to carry bags, but to go to Shifang Street where scattered repair stalls gathered. The dazzling array of things dazzled Chen Yenji, a rural bumpkin, and her heart was even more restless, wanting to spend money. Taoist friend, do you want the top quality qi gathering pill? This one pill can increase one level of cultivation. The handsome man in the green shirt greeted with a smile on his face. Opening the cork of the jade bottle with ease, a round and plump pill rolled inside. The fragrance of the medicine was strong, the spiritual energy was pressing, and there were faint spiritual patterns flashing. Seeing her attracted attention, the man asked with a smile in his voice, "Don't believe it?" Chen Yenji nodded honestly. She had taken the gathering qi pill before, and 1 grain was worth practicing meditation in March. It's just inferior, she's not sure how top quality it is, but it shouldn't be so exaggerated, right? Understood, would you be willing to listen to me for clarification, Taoist friend? The handsome man acted with grace and courtesy, making people feel good about him. A few beautiful female cultivators next to them also approached curiously, their eyes fixed on the pill with keen interest, and due to etiquette, they did not interrupt. Just looking at Chen Yenji and urging with his eyes, it was obvious that he was very interested in this top-notch qi gathering pill. Under heavy pressure, Chen Yenji shook her head firmly and said, "No need, I don't have money." Ha ha ha. The nun wearing a goose yellow long dress chuckled teasingly and said, "You're too sincere, you're so cute." Attracted by the medicinal fragrance, the cultivators gathered around were also amused by the words. Chen Yenji's face lit up as she was teased in public. She felt very uncomfortable and planned to leave quickly. The man in the green shirt apologized and bowed to her, saying in a warm voice, "I'm being rude. I'm sorry to bother you, my friend." "It's okay, I've also delayed Dao Yu from doing business," she said as she turned around and disappeared into the crowd, ignoring the laughter and whispers. Chen Yenji strolled through one stall after another and found that it was not easy to use 20 spirit stones to win the defense array, even the lowest level, which made her feel frustrated. The array is on sale. With only 20 spirit stones, you can't afford to lose out or fall for it. The chubby cultivator waved a small array flag and shouted loudly. Chen Yenji's ears twitched as she swiftly passed through the crowd and arrived at the small stall at the big sale. I saw several discs engraved with runes on top, some with small flags, and some bare. But there were cracks on the disc, and the small flag was also tattered. She felt a chill in her heart. Can this thing still be used after buying it? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Counterfeit Drug Storm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Counterfeit Drug Storm. Seeing Chen Yenji frown, the slightly chubby cultivator smiled and said, "Friend, don't let it break, it can still be used." As he spoke, he demonstrated and placed a shattered spirit in a concave area of the formation. After being triggered, a small flame as big as a palm shot up into the sky. It can indeed be used. Seeing her hesitant, the cultivator continued to chase after her, 20 spirit stones in one formation, you can't see them anywhere else. If you miss this time, there won't be any more in the future. Chen Yenji had to admit that she was tempted and still feeling shy. Is there a defense formation? The chubby cultivator pushed the front green-black disc forward. This is the turtle shell formation, which can withstand the full force strike of cultivators in the middle stage of chi refining. It also has a warning function. After dripping blood, if there is an external object invading, it can be sensed within a radius of 3 miles. An intact formation is necessary, Chen Yenji bluntly revealed. The chubby cultivator had no embarrassment of being exposed and said, "Hee, it's not a problem to resist the cultivators on the first and second floors. Can we still give a warning?" Chen Yenji was most satisfied with this induction. The Deshan building is just within 3 miles of her own courtyard, and if anyone invades, she can still rush back in time. Upon careful inspection, it was found that there were no other issues except for a tattered appearance. I was a bit satisfied, but the price still needs to be reduced. It's in a state of disrepair, who knows if it will break down halfway through, and its defense is even weaker. 12 spirit stones are about the same. Daoist friend, you are too ruthless. I have a small business, so let's take a step back each. 17 spirit stones, no loss or profit, let's form a good relationship. Chen Yenji argued, it's really not that I'm bothering you around. It's mainly because you take a look at this array yourself. It's old and broken, and I dare not exert force, just because I'm afraid it might accidentally be damaged. 17 spirit stones, why don't I add some more money to buy a new one? It's more expensive, but it's not risky. Alright, I'll add 50 more spirit fragments. Weipang Sanxiu looked helpless and said, I've never seen you haggle like this before. With a swish, I'll go down halfway. That means I don't have enough money at the moment, and I urgently need a defense array. Otherwise, I would definitely be willing to buy a brand new one. I'll give you a discount, at most 13 spirit stones. If not, I'll just leave. Weipang Sanxiu waved his hand and said with a bitter smile, it's just that. Let's just call it a loss to make a profit. Chen Yenji doesn't believe it. The maximum profit point is, but it is impossible to lose money. After receiving both the silver and goods, I stuffed my cherished blue and black array and the same colored flag into my arms, feeling satisfied. Seeing that it was getting late, she was ready to hurry back and bargain for almost 2/4 of an hour. She had to admire herself to death. Indeed, the only thing that can force me is poverty. Just as I walked down the street for a short time, I noticed many people gathered in front of me, and there were patrol guards wearing black robes looking for someone. I could faintly hear a few angry and noisy voices. Chen Yenji quickly infiltrated the crowd. At such times, don't make yourself too conspicuous, otherwise God knows what trouble it will cause. In the crowd, she looked up like other monks and perked up her ears to eavesdrop on their whispers. What happened? Even the patrol has been called in. Catch those who sell fake drugs. It seems to have deceived many people, even the third miss of the Su family has been deceived. Can this pill still be fake? Smell the fragrance, taste it, and test the spirit. With all 4 tubes in place, is it a clear spiritual pill? How could someone take advantage of it? Cheating the foolish young man. The third young lady of the Su family is a child of the Chikuji family, with her own elder's guidance. How could she be deceived? She is definitely a fool. Be cautious in your words. The fraudster's methods were clever, and the top-quality gathering chi pill he made was just like the real one. It is said that Miss Su, the third lady of the Su family, bought a batch of spiritual stones for the family on her own and was deceived into buying hundreds of them. What? The top-quality chi gathering pill, I just bought one and it's not working yet. How could it be fake? A young man shouted, attracting the attention of those around him. He took out a jade bottle from his arms, opened it, and a round pill rolled around. His whole body was filled with spiritual energy, and the fragrance of the medicine overflowed. At first glance, it was not an ordinary product. As soon as the young man's hanging heart let go, a person reminded him, take a look and eat, don't be such an ordinary person. Amidst the scorching gazes of the crowd, the young man nervously swallowed his saliva, gritted his teeth, and clasped the jade bottle in his hand towards his mouth. The pill then fell into his mouth, pursed his lips, and swallowed the saliva vigorously. With a gulp, it slid down. The young man closed his eyes, felt it seriously, forgot his breath, and held it for half a day without feeling any spiritual energy. Knowing he had been deceived, he burst into tears and wiped away his tears, crying out, "My spirit stone, 5 whole spirit stones." Hiccups. Those who kill 1,000 swords should have all their cultivation destroyed, and the thunder calamity will worsen. It's not easy to die. When Chenyenji heard the top-quality chi-gathering pill, her heart thumped and her pupils shrank slightly. She had just believed the man's lies. "I still think the owner of that stall is handsome and polite, a gentle gentleman, but I didn't expect to be a scammer. Indeed, one cannot judge by appearance." She didn't want to stay in the midst of trouble and walked straight to the intersection. There were many cultivators who had to leave, but she didn't stand out among them. Follow the crowd forward. There were indeed patrols guarding the intersection, and 5 cultivators with 5 levels of chi cultivation stood solemnly, including 5 cultivators wearing Sioux family uniforms, all of whom were in the later stage of chi cultivation. They held a portrait in their hands, which was the man in the blue shirt, and there was also a delicate and antique mirror-like artifact. No, it seems like a spiritual artifact. Chenyenji had never seen it before, but just by looking at it, she felt an extraordinary aura, giving her a strong sense of oppression. To leave, one must walk in front of a mirror, which can reflect a person's true face, whether they have changed their appearance or not, at a glance. Chenyenji passed smoothly, but she always felt an indescribable sense of discord in her heart. As it was getting late, she ran straight back to the Deshan building and didn't have time to dwell on this inexplicable feeling. After Chenyenji finished work, she didn't go home directly, but went to the Lingji Hall. The white rice is ripe, and she plans to buy some more rice seeds, plant a new batch, and take advantage of the early months to plant late rice. In a while, she will miss the farming season. With experience, the scale can also be expanded. This time, she bought 300 seeds at once and spent a total of 1 spirit stone and 8 shattered spirits. She bought less and the price was higher, like those bought by the pound. 100 pills is about 30 pieces of spirit. Walking on the road, one can hear everyone talking about selling counterfeit drugs, indicating that no matter where they are, people always reach a strange resonance about certain things. This fake drug dealer is really causing trouble. The Lao Tian family knows, their youngest daughter died. I heard she died by taking fake pills. It's not that evil, is it? I heard that the pill is not poisonous, right? At most it won't work. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Morning Dew Water. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Water of Morning Dew. Oh, who knows? I'm afraid to buy pills from San Shio's hands now. It's more reliable to go to a store under the clan's name. The price has increased, I can't afford it anymore. Alas, cultivating immortals is difficult, and even more so is scattered cultivation. Even people like Chenyenji who don't buy pills can't help but worry, and they don't know how long this impact will last. Counterfeit drug dealers have caused great harm to people. In the backyard of the Jun family's medicine house, an elderly man with a fairy-like demeanor sat cross-legged in front of the alchemy stove, with a straight waist. Skilled in selecting spiritual herbs, extracting medicinal liquids, opening a furnace to refine pills, with flowing movements that are pleasing to the eye. The person opposite him was dressed in a blue shirt, with an ordinary appearance but a refined and outstanding temperament. He was such a refined young master. Grandfather, everyone knows about the rumor of counterfeit drugs, but in just a few days, the pharmacy's business has increased by 20%. The old man nodded gently and said, add another flame, don't raise the price too much, just gradually. You did a good job this time. Su Jianian won't be able to hold on for long. Get ready. At the same time, the managers of other pharmacies also made the same plan. The fake pill incident instantly ignited the entire city of Changlifang like a wildfire, as if everyone was talking about it. The pharmacy earns a lot of money. Those who have undergone scattered training are increasingly struggling. Why are you a cultivator of the Su family again? Chen Yanji saw from a distance a team of 5 people holding magical tools and grabbing people everywhere, all of whom were cultivators in the middle stage of qi cultivation. This is already the second batch she has seen, isn't it just 100 spirit stones? For a casual cultivator like her, it's a huge sum of money, but for the Su family, it's just a drop in the bucket. Such a big move is clearly not right. Did the man in the green shirt do something else to anger the Su family? Forget it, it's nothing to do with me anyway. Going home to farm is the right thing to do. In the small courtyard, Chen Yanji took out the turtle shell formation and prepared to deploy it. There's nothing special, and it's not difficult either. Blood drips, spiritual energy is infused, and a faint blue light curtain covers the entire courtyard. I feel that this color is a bit eye-catching, not in line with her low-key personality. After following the user manual provided by the vendor for a long time, I finally made the cover transparent and hidden, at least not visible from the outside. Placing the array in the area with the most abundant spiritual energy in the courtyard can save the need for spiritual stones. At this moment, Chen Yanji's sense of security was overwhelming, and she was no longer afraid of someone stealing her home. I didn't rest, but came to a place where there were clear and hidden signs, bare of soil. I have been continuously inputting spiritual energy for 3 months, but this guy only enters and cannot exit, and has not sprouted yet. She checks every day to see if her status has changed. As soon as I focused on feeling it today, I saw a brand new message. I work hard every day, pushing and pushing, trying to break through the constraints, but suddenly realized the shortcomings of water lubrication. I heard that at the beginning of the morning sun rising every day, the dew water condensed on the spiritual plant carries a very small purple aura. I want to. The water of morning dew. It's from the moment when the sun rises, and it's also from spiritual plants. You'll quite enjoy it. It's just that Chen Yanji has suffered a lot. From now on, she will have to get up in the middle of the night, wait for the sunrise, and catch the dew. You're really an ancestor, then I can only satisfy you. Knowing what Mingji hidden sprouts needed, she also felt relieved. It was just a bit tiring and not difficult to handle. It's much better than before to just eat spiritual energy without sprouting. I also poured some stolen spiritual rain on the red cloud grass. She was about to sharpen her knife and work hard on the rice. After 2 days, the white rice was almost completely ripe, and only the progress bar for 5 plants was not yet full. You planted and harvested a white rice plant, and obtained a spoonful of white wine. As she moved, the system scrolled through countless messages one after another. Chen Yanji was so happy that she couldn't even close the corners of her mouth, being a diligent little bee, kept busy. You have planted and harvested 10 white millet rice plants, and obtained a first-level primary stun sword talisman. The faint sword talisman. Shaking and swaying a small sword, all the traps were unintentional. Is that what it means? Chen Yanji asked with a question mark all over her head. Accidentally tricked people. Used for sneak attacks. The system is persistently flaccid and silent. Chen Yanji was really helpless, she could only wait until she tried it out. No matter how powerful the stun sword talisman was, it was definitely worth it. And after planting and harvesting 10 white millet rice plants, I received a faint sword talisman. Does that mean that there will also be rewards dropped for harvesting 20 or 30 plants in the future? Thinking of this, her motivation became even stronger, and she swung her sickle with great effort. The 20th one. The 30th one. Chen Yanji waved her knife and murmured softly. The sound of 40th plant had a hint of gritting teeth, not like counting, but more like reminding the system. The result, of course, is as quiet as a chicken. Chen Yanji was discouraged and resigned, knowing that this amount had not yet touched the reward mechanism of the system, and it was useless to force it. This dog-forced system was not the main one that would be threatened by people. After harvesting 41 white rice plants, a total of 41 spoonfuls of white wine and a stun sword talisman with unknown power and purpose were harvested. It's also considered a big harvest. After threshing the rice, place it on a large bamboo dustpan and wait for it to dry in the sun. Chen Yanji carefully took a small packet of bone powder and evenly sprinkled it on the spiritual field where white millet had been planted. Bone meal is made from monster bones and contains spiritual energy. It can effectively supplement the spiritual energy and soil power consumed after planting in the spiritual field, enhance fertility, and promote the healthy growth of spiritual roots and stems. This palm-sized small package cost her a soul stone, indicating its value. After planting for a few seasons, the spiritual planter will fallow the land to slowly restore the soil and spiritual energy. Otherwise, if planted continuously, the spiritual energy of the spiritual field will be depleted and eventually become ordinary land, which is still the kind of wasteland where it is difficult to grow more plants. Bone meal can avoid the process of fallow cultivation. By saving this period of time, she can gain more from the system. She is as shrewd as Chen Yanji, and naturally calculates very clearly. She is willing to give up small money and make big money. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Little Diamond Fruit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Little Diamond Fruit. A small courtyard with white walls and green tiles, with a gentle breeze and tender green seedlings swaying. The girl dressed in gray cloth and plain clothes sat on a bamboo chair, casually picking and pulling with both hands, and the rice on the dustpan piled up in a ball. I saw her twisting a white shell with her right fingertip and holding a small knife in her right hand. She lightly scratched the white shell and picked out the crystal white grains inside. One after another, more than 5,000 pills. Chen Yanji felt dizzy, sore in the back, and twitching in her fingertips. Finally finished peeling. This is really not something that people did, Chen Yanji said with a breakdown as she held her red fingertips. Poor and poor, unable to afford to rent a shell removal spirit tool, can only operate it manually. Holding a handful of white rice, Chen Yanji truly felt the joy of harvest after hard work. She peeled out 5 pounds of white rice and sighed as she divided it into 2 parts. She didn't intend to sell these 5 pounds of rice, she kept it for herself to eat, and there wasn't much in total. After a hard work, she must reward herself. Carrying a bag of white rice, Chen Yanji slipped out. In the westernmost part of the neighborhood, the spiritual energy is almost nowhere to be found, and there are a bunch of crowded houses. It's not shabby, it just makes people feel cramped. The roads are crowded, the houses are also crowded, and the people are even more crowded. This place is called Liaolua Street, where the destitute and destitute live. It is home to the lowest level of scattered cultivators in Changlifang City. Chen Yanji lived here before renting a small courtyard. Arriving at an old black door, a woman in black knocked and opened it. She has a tall and slender figure, with a snowy long sword on her waist. Her appearance is exquisite, like a green bamboo or an unsheathed sword, straight and sharp. This person is the little green plum named Bai Yun, who went with Chen Yanji to pick clear sprouts of grass outside the square city to cultivate 3 levels of qi. After being carried away by her, she luckily regained her life, but her physical foundation was severely damaged. When the thief first entered her house, he moved in with her and helped keep an eye on the house. After the defense formation was set, he returned to his own house. Stone. Come in quickly. Bai Yun saw Chen Yanji and a smile appeared on his face. What do you think this is? He lifted the cloth bag in his hand and shook it a few times in front of Bai Yun. Bai Yun ignored Chen Yanji's deceitful behavior and quickly grabbed the cloth bag. He opened it and said, "By Xiaomi." "Yes, here you are. If you want to eat in the future, come find me and take care of it." Bai Yun smiled brilliantly, even happier than his own advanced cultivation. "It's really great. It seems that you have a natural talent in spiritual cultivation, so I don't have to worry about you anymore." Then she said solemnly, "Stone, I plan to go into the depths of the Liling Mountains. This trip will be a near death, but I still want to fight for this immortal path and gamble my life on my immortal fate. If I am lucky, I will successfully inherit the legacy of the senior cultivator of the building foundation sword. This dilapidated body will no longer be my obstacle. If unfortunate, it will only be sacrificing my life." Chen Yanji was startled by the words and then became anxious. She said, "But there are even third-order demon beasts in the depths of the Liling Mountains. You may die just as soon as you enter. In danger. In this way, you can learn farming from me first, and we can gradually save money to buy the Revival Spirit Purple Pill. Alternatively, when I improve my cultivation, I can accompany you." She tried her best to propose feasible suggestions, hoping to stop Bai Yun. Bai Yun shook his head firmly and said, "Stone, I don't have much time left. Now, my body is like a rag pocket, unable to hold spiritual energy and constantly leaking out. If I wait any longer, I'm afraid I won't even be able to maintain my cultivation in the third level of qi refining, and my chances of inheriting it will be even more slim. I have decided that the path to immortality is a personal matter, and I cannot rely on you either. Otherwise, what kind of immortality would I cultivate? Why not go to the mortal world and become a wealthy and idle person?" Chen Yanji did not persuade him again upon seeing the situation. At this point, what Bai Yun needed was support, not cold water and cold words. She took out 9 spirit stones directly from her arms and said, "Take them and buy some self-defense items. This is all my money and I want to repay it. If you dare to die in the Liling Mountains, I won't let you go even if you're a ghost." This is what remained after buying the formation, and she only left a few dozen pieces of spiritual supplies for herself for emergency use. Bai Yun naturally understood Chen Yanji's meaning, with a slightly sour nose. He took the spirit stone and lightly punched Chen Yanji. "You guy, thank you. Don't worry, I will definitely return the money to you. By the way, here's this seed for you. I found it in the Liling Mountains. At that time, I thought it was some kind of treasure, but later I found out it was a spiritual seed, and I didn't know how to plant it. Since you have talent in spiritual cultivation, I'll give it to you." Bai Yun returned to the room and took out a seed. The seed is an iron ball the size of a little thumb, with a black-brown surface and a hint of pale gold. It is full of vitality inside, indicating that it has been well preserved. "I'll take this seed," Chen Yanji said happily as she took the spiritual seed. After chatting for a while, Chen Yanji said goodbye and left. Bai Yun also had to prepare for entering the Liling Mountains, so she didn't want to disturb her. Just out of the desolate street, Chen Yanji's mood was a bit heavy. Reality is not a novel, and the biggest possibility for Bai Yun is that he will never come back. But she couldn't stop it. She was a poor cultivator, unable to borrow spirit stones from Bai Yun to buy healing pills for her body, nor could she accompany her into the Liling Mountains. Since mixing her original memories, she has become more empathetic towards people and things in this world, and she can clearly feel all the emotions in her original body. Even her personality became increasingly similar, at least as a little green plum who grew up with her original body. Bai Yun did not notice anything wrong, otherwise she would definitely be far away from Bai Yun. She thought, perhaps the two are the same person, just in different time and space, otherwise why is their bodies so compatible? Returning to the courtyard, Chen Yanji buried the spiritual seed, and there was a system prompt indicating that she was not worried about whether the seed would survive. As soon as it was planted, the system information arrived. As usual, there are detailed introductions to unknown spiritual species. Little diamond fruit seed, a first-order advanced spiritual species, grows in 1 year, blooms in 1 year, and bears fruit in 1 year. It contains a small strand of blood from ancient diamond fruit, which can be consumed by qi refining cultivators for a long time. It can be used to refine the body and skin until the skin is like gold and stone, making it difficult for magic tools to penetrate. Note: with enormous potential, it can be cultivated for advancement. Chen Yanji was pleasantly surprised and said, it can cultivate advanced skills, as well as the bloodline of ancient diamond fruits. It's difficult for magic tools to penetrate. What kind of divine seed is this? It seems that I need to make money quickly and buy another book of body cultivation techniques. When combined, it won't be invincible. After endless imagination, her mood became even brighter. I'm so thirsty. Hurry up and have a rain of spiritual energy to nourish me, otherwise I won't sprout. It's another heavy rain of spiritual energy. Chen Yanji looked at the blood-red progress bar and instantly wilted. I have no choice but to divert the spiritual water given to red cloud grass. Anyway, red cloud grass grows equally long whether it is eaten or not. So much. It's not even enough to stuff your teeth, stingy, stingy. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Clouds and Waves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Clouds and Waves. I also want to be more generous, but I don't have any. I'll save up some spirit stones before buying you spirit water. I'm so angry, poor. Cut it out. Little diamond fruit had a lot of resentment, but Chen Yanji decisively ignored it. Returning to the room, she took a spoonful of baijiu from the system, took a sip, and began sitting down to practice. The qi-boosting technique operates within the body, refining the free spiritual energy and sending it into the elixir field. An hour later, she opened her eyes in surprise, and this spoonful of white rice wine perfectly inherited the advantages of white rice. It can increase spiritual power, and 1 spoonful is equivalent to the third effect of the gathering qi pill. She can also refine her meridians, and now she can feel the faint heat in her body's meridians. The most important thing is that baijiu has no erysipelas. As long as there is enough alcohol in the bottle, she can drink it continuously without spending time excreting erysipelas. Feeling the slow growth of spiritual power in her body, Chen Yanji was overjoyed and continued to drink, meditate, and become addicted to cultivation. It's another night of staying up late to practice. In the twilight of the sky, she suddenly felt the formation being touched, right in the direction of the main entrance. Chen Yanji frowned fiercely, took the sickle, and the dizzy sword talisman slipped into her hand. She got up and went to the door, waited for a while, but didn't notice any movement. She opened the door with suspicion. I saw a cloth bag placed on the ground at the entrance, with a piece of paper pressed underneath. There are only 3 words on the note. I'm leaving. Chen Yanji grabbed the cloth bag and placed 9 spirit stones inside. Thinking of what Bai Yun said yesterday, her heart tightened. Is this a lack of confidence in herself? She stood up, ran out of the door, looked around, but found that there was no one around. I ran to the dilapidated street again, pushed open the old black door, but it was still empty inside. Did you just leave like this? Without even saying a word. Chen Yanji gripped a cloth bag and reluctantly returned to the small courtyard. I only hope that Bai Yun is doing well. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, more than 3 months have passed. 300 late rice grains have ripened once again. Chen Yanji is busy harvesting. You have planted and harvested 50 white millet rice plants, and have obtained 1 experience pack for the spring breeze and rain transformation technique. Note: the spring breeze and rain transformation technique is an improvement of the small spirit rain technique. It can nourish spiritual plants, slightly improve their quality, and slightly accelerate their growth rate. A halo suddenly hit Chen Yanji's mind, and the formulas and spiritual power operation routes were imprinted one by one in her mind, as if she knew it herself. According to the information in your mind, use your spiritual power and come up with a recipe. The gentle breeze in the air came to a halt, followed by a white cloud appearing on top of the red cloud grass, and fine raindrops falling on the grass leaves. Chen Yanji witnessed with her own eyes the red cloud grass tremble a few times, as if eating opium. Wow, what's this? It's so cool, so cool. Also, the effect is much stronger than Ling Shui. With this spell, you no longer have to worry about not having Lingyu, nor do you have to shamelessly rub against the shopkeeper. And the system directly provides an experience package, saving you time to practice. It's small and impressive. In a happy mood, Chen Yanji generously brought a heavy rain to nourish Qianko, Xiajingguo, and Mingji. Enough, too much, no more can be tolerated. She stopped when she saw the spiritual plants shouting that they couldn't bear it. In the future, there will be enough rain pipes, she said to the spiritual plants with a smile. The emergence of the technique of turning spring breeze into rain has made Chen Yanji look forward to the remaining rewards even more. Pick up the sickle and continue working. You have planted and harvested 100 white millet spirit rice plants, and obtained the first level advanced magical tool, the Hidden Breath Jade. Note: after inputting spiritual energy, one can hide their aura, change their cultivation level, and no one can detect it under the foundation. After the system confirmed the safety of the surroundings, at the request of Chen Yanji, a gray oval-shaped stone fell down. This is Zhangxi Jade, it's really ordinary. She tried to input spiritual energy into it, thinking of changing her cultivation level to the second level of Qi cultivation. The hidden breath jade flickered, and a light curtain covered her whole body, causing her breath to change in an instant. It's truly a top-quality magical tool, it's just easy to use. For the past 3 months, Chen Yanji has been drinking baijiu and her cultivation level has been increasing. It won't be long before she can break through to the 4th level of Qi cultivation. In order to avoid the rapid growth of cultivation and arouse suspicion from others, I have been relying solely on meditation and deliberately suppressing cultivation during this period. No need now, as long as there is no foundation building cultivator, no one can discover her hidden cultivation. In Changlifang City, there are already few cultivators who build foundations, let alone they do not pay attention to a minor cultivator who practices Qi. In short, with hidden jade, it's safe. I found a rope and put Zhangziyu directly around my neck. Harvest all the remaining white rice. You have planted and harvested 300 white millet rice plants, obtained Xuanjia magic, and a cloud wave 1000 stack experience pack. Clouds and waves are stacked in 3 layers. The first layer can condense 10 layers of clouds and waves, the second layer can condense hundreds of layers of clouds and waves, and the third layer can condense thousands of layers of clouds and waves. Clouds and waves are stacked layer by layer, and each time they are stacked, their power is twice that of the previous layer. Stacking 10 layers can eliminate the perfect cultivator of Qi cultivation, 100 layers can eliminate the perfect cultivator of building foundation, and 1000 layers can kill the perfect cultivator of golden elixir. I didn't expect the system to reward such a good thing, like the spring wind and rain transformation technique that I just received, which is not advanced at all. As long as it is an advanced technique, even if it is only a yellow level, its power is extraordinary, let alone a mysterious level. She condensed her spiritual power according to the memory in her mind, and a 3-foot wide long wave rolled horizontally towards the stone wall. Approaching, several cracks appeared on the wall that had just been hit, but this was just one crack. If the 3 cracks were stacked, the wall would definitely break apart. With this powerful technique, more practice is needed. If you can stack a few more, it can be considered as a way to save your life. This time, Bai Xiaomi harvested over 30 kilograms in total. Chen Yanji decided to sell all of them in exchange for Lingshi. She wanted to rent another piece of land to expand the planting scale. Directly deliver the processed white rice to the Su family's spiritual grain shop, selling a total of 23 spirit stones and 10 broken spirits, and purchasing 70 broken spirits per kilogram. No way, this white rice is an exclusive product cultivated by the Su family. Due to its ability to refine meridians, it is very popular in the world, with a price as high as 1 spirit stone per kilogram. If someone buys their seeds for planting, the harvested white rice must be purchased by the Su family. Otherwise, as one of the 3 major foundation building families in Changlifang City, the Su family is not easy to deal with. 23 spirit stones, along with the income from working and carrying bags in the restaurant during this period. Chen Yanji accumulated a total of 77 spirit stones, making her unprecedentedly wealthy. As soon as she reached the intersection, she saw Yaren standing at the door with a tall middle-aged monk. She walked up skeptically and said, "What are you doing at my doorstep?" With a helpless expression on his face, Ye said, "Chen Daoyu, this is Li Zindayu, who is also the owner of this small courtyard. He wants to take back the house." Chen Yanji frowned and said, "Last time we signed a 6-month contract at once." End of this chapter. 10, Chapter 10 Renting Controversy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Renting Controversy. I can refund the rent, Li Xian said, standing over the toothless person. Chen Yanji became very popular in an instant. Is this a rental issue? She has planted so many things in the small courtyard, and transplanting is troublesome. What should she do if there is a problem with the spiritual plant? The red cloud grass will mature in another 2 months, and transplanting it at this time will definitely affect its quality. She calmly declined and said, "I disagree. I planted spiritual plants inside, but they haven't matured yet. Can you tell me how to handle them? If there's a problem, can you compensate? You can increase the rent, as long as you have 7 spirit stones, I will continue to rent them to you," said Li Xian with a smile on his face. Chen Yanji suddenly realized, what did she say? I used to wait here, but I can't agree to this kind of thing. There are 2 ways to deal with it. We have already signed a contract, and I will not increase the rent or move until the expiration date, she said, even if she insists on not accepting these spiritual plants, even if it gets in front of the guards, I'm not afraid. Changlifang City was established by the 3 families of Wenjiangsu, with a portion of the shares of the giant mountain sect. The patrols were also composed of people from these 4 factions. Usually, they are mutually restrained, and if it really gets to the surface, it must be handled fairly. After speaking, she walked straight to the door. Seeing that his goal had not been achieved, Li Xian was furious and snorted coldly, "Since he doesn't want to increase the money, let's wait for 2 months to move out. There are plenty of people renting this yard. Don't cry and beg me then." Chen Yanji forcefully closed the door and turned a deaf ear to these words. She now became more and more eager to have her own spiritual field. However, currently we still need to cultivate and mature the red cloud grass within 2 months. The spring breeze and rain transformation technique can slightly accelerate the growth rate of spiritual plants, and red cloud grass should be able to fully fill the progress bar before the lease expires. "Hurry up and grow up," he said, applying a spring breeze and rain transformation technique to the already lush red cloud grass. Clear traces and hidden plants are, as their name suggests, with concealed movements and transparent appearances. If not carefully examined, it is easy to overlook them. Catch it and feed it with morning dew water. The little diamond fruit has just grown a small seedling with a thumb length, which is dark golden in color. When you tap it with your hand, it can make a sound of gold and stone. As usual, use the technique of spring breeze and rain to moisturize it. I feel like I'm not hard enough and need some hard minerals. It would be even better if I had spiritual minerals. Spiritual ore. I didn't say which type of spiritual ore I wanted, so I'll give you the copper and iron spiritual ore as my own choice. This type of ore is quite common and not expensive, within Chen Yanji's affordability range. After taking care of Lingji, she went out and planned to rent a new Lingtian. This time, she wanted to rent a larger one. She didn't go to the dentist, and what happened today made her very dissatisfied with the dentist. But I went to a small house on the desolate street. After knocking on the door, a young woman opened it and let her in, saying directly, "We only provide rental recruitment information, and don't know anything else." Although Chen Yenji knew that this person was talking nonsense, it didn't matter. Anyway, she didn't buy any news now. "I want to rent a spiritual field as large as possible," she said. The young woman glanced at her and said, "Not now. Ling Tian has always been in high demand in the local market. But if you're willing to wait a little longer, you'll have a chance," she said meaningfully. "Prepare the spirit stone." Chen Yenji frowned and said, "How long will you wait?" "I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 months, maybe 1 or 2 years. "What? But I need it in 2 months. "It depends on your luck. If it's fast, we'll see the end of it within the next 1 or 2 months. Chen Yenji felt helpless. This answer was really mystical, not a single word of certainty. "Alright, since we haven't solved your problem, we'll only charge you 50 pieces of spiritual labor." The young woman reached out her hand and said simply. Chen Yenji took out the broken spirit and gave it to her. Although she thinks it's not cost-effective, this young woman has a lot of information about Changlifang City, and she always needs it when she needs it, so she can't offend her. Worried, he walked out of the impoverished street. If he didn't rent the Ling Tian again within 2 months, he would have to face the threat of Li Xian and increase the rent. Thinking about it would make him feel frustrated. Kemingjian and Little Diamond cannot be delayed. If they have any problems, she will cry to death. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed and Chen Yenji still hasn't rented the Ling Tian. And for some unknown reason. The atmosphere in the neighborhood is very solemn, with many incidents of fighting, robbery, and murder, and the guards don't care at all. No, it shouldn't be possible to manage it. Currently, there are hardly any cultivators from the Wenjiangsu family in the patrol office. Only a few disciples of the Giant Mountain sect can manage it, so there are ghosts. As a result, the Deshan building temporarily closed down and Chen Yenji was forced to take a vacation. She decided not to leave home and practiced farming at home to avoid encountering danger, but as the 2-month period approached, she couldn't help feeling anxious. Late at night, Chen Yenji had eaten ling congee made of white millet rice, and stood in the yard to practice cloud waves. After 2 months of non-stop practice day and night, she has been able to stack 2 cloud waves. The 10 large stones that were brought to the courtyard for cultivation are now only 1 intact. Suddenly, the turtle shell formation shone brightly, and a faint ripple appeared on the shield, which immediately shattered. A black-clad cultivator with 3 levels of chi cultivation jumped off the wall of the small courtyard. Without saying a word, he directly attacked Chen Yenji. There's no need to talk too much about killing and looting, just go up and do it. Even before the turtle shell formation shattered, Chen Yenji sensed someone. The light body technique, which has reached the level of proficiency, is used to the extreme, avoiding the person's big sword and rolling a long wave towards the cultivator on the backhand. Wow! The cultivator waved his big sword, stirring up the surging waves. Feeling his hands trembling slightly from being hit by the long waves, this person's heart was frightened. What kind of magic is this? It's so powerful. At this moment, Chen Yenji had no thoughts at all and was in a panic, only wanting to quickly kill him. Following the first application of the anti-seismic force, the second long wave swept away again. Clouds and waves stack up, second stack. Seemingly no different from the first path, its power is 2 points heavier than just now. Bang! The black-clad cultivator fell heavily to the ground, spat out a mouthful of blood, mixed with scattered internal organs and foam, and cracked the skin on his chest. Row! As soon as he spoke, the sickle struck with lightning speed, cutting off his head in an instant. Can't let him speak, hurry up and kill him. After confirming that the person had died completely, Chen Yenji took a deep breath and her hand trembled faintly. She was still a bit nervous about killing someone for the first time. After a moment of delay, she leaned forward to collect the spoils of war and destroy the remains. The big sword is a first-level basic magic tool, keep it. Seeing the fireball talisman held in the right hand of the black-clad cultivator, Chen Yanji felt extremely grateful. Fortunately, I move quickly, she said. I flipped through the body and found a gray storage bag on the waist side of my inner garment, then took it away. Without finding anything else, Chen Yanji reluctantly took out the fireball talisman she had just received and activated it. It's a bargain for you, she said. The fist-sized fireball landed on the body of the black-clad cultivator, and soon, there was only a pile of black ash left on the ground. End of this chapter.